Hello, this is State Representative Robert Martwick, and welcome to Facebook Live. Today I have a very special guest appearing with me on my Facebook Live. I have State Treasurer Mike Frerichs is here. Mike, good to see you.
Representative, thanks very much for having me.
Thanks for coming on to talk about a very important initiative that your office started, and I was really happy to partner with you on. And we were just talking before this begins. We get excited about this, but I think everyone should get excited about this. The name doesn't sound very exciting. Unclaimed life insurance benefits, right?
Yeah, I think many people hear life insurance and they go to sleep, unclaimed, they're not sure what it means. But, I've never met someone who bought a life insurance policy because they wanted to make an insurance company richer.
Right.
They buy life insurance policies because there's someone in their life that they love, that they want to take care of when they're no longer here. And that's what we're trying to do, is to help life insurance companies keep the promises that they made to their policyholders.
Yeah, and that's a great way of putting it. And to all of the people watching this video, either live or later, really, if we distill it down, you very well may be named as a beneficiary on someone's life insurance policy, meaning someone bought life insurance with the idea of getting it to you, and when that person died, be it your grandparents or your uncle or your parents or a sister or a wife or a husband, if you didn't know to come forward and claim this, if somehow you didn't realize that you were a beneficiary, either you weren't told or a policy got lost, the insurance companies, some of them, not all of them, but some of them had a practice of hanging on to that money and not turning it over to you. And so this bill that we passed in the House, that is your initiative, if we can get this through and get the governor to sign it, that money that may be sitting out there in an account, if we pass this, may wind up coming to you in a check. And I think that's very exciting when people, there may be a windfall out there, and we've seen it.
Numerous times. And yes, when I came into my office, I discovered that this was a practice some insurance companies were engaging in, holding on to policy proceeds for 20, 30, or 40 years, investing that money and keeping the interest. Like I said, no one bought that policy to make the insurance company richer. They bought it to take care of someone out there. And for various reasons, a lot of people were unaware that they were the recipients. And we're not talking about a small amount of money here. In 5 years, auditing just over 20 different companies, we've discovered over $500 million in unpaid life insurance benefits, $550 million. And that's from 20-some companies. We know that there are tens or hundreds of millions of dollars more out there that belong to the people of the state, and we encourage you, check our website. But, we decided that we were going to do what we could to get money back in the hands of people in Illinois. But we also want to take care of all those people who were forgotten, who didn't have this before. And I wanted to do something about this. And Representative Rob Martwick stood up and took this fight in the House. We made great strides last year, and we're coming back to finish the job this year.
Right, and so last year we passed a bill that kind of went forward. It was prospective in nature. It says that this practice can't continue. But there's a gap, and I think you mentioned it. You have a website. It's
illinoistreasurer.gov.
And you go to icash, right?
Click on icash or illinoistreasurer.gov/icash.
And of course, a lot of people are aware of this. This helps you find a property that you may be entitled to that you weren't aware of. But there's a gap right now in the law, because since the law that we passed last year was prospective, old policies that may have been classified as lapsed policies, you may be a beneficiary of that policy. That money should be turned over to you, but the insurance company, under the current law, can continue to hang on to that money. And so if we can get this bill through the Senate now and then get to the governor and get the governor to sign this bill, then this will require these insurance companies to check those records. And if they find that you are a beneficiary, they'll have to reach out to you and reach out to those beneficiaries and notify them.
Yeah, you've done your job. You've got it out of the House. We now have to get it through the Senate. If someone listening to this today thinks this is a good issue, we encourage you to reach out to your senators and ask them to co-sponsor House Bill 302. We really need some help. There's a lot of opposition from the insurance industry. And to make that point clear, I personally got to call a young man who was orphaned when he was 15 years old. His father died when he was 12, his mother died when he was 15. He went to go live with an aunt and uncle. They hadn't saved any money for him. He didn't have any money saved for college, and so he joined the military. A great career. Spent 10 years serving our country. We called him last year and asked him if he knew that his mother had a life insurance policy when she died. He was unaware. He asked us how much was it for? We said it was for $175,000. He said, wow, that would have been really helpful to me when I was a 15-year-old orphan to have that money. He said, but that's been 13 years ago since she passed away. How much is it worth today? And we told him $175,000. He asked, didn't the company invest my money? Surely they made money off it. And we told him, well, yes, they did, but the insurance company gets to keep that interest. And this young man who joined the Army started cursing like a sailor. He was furious that not only did they not tell him when he was a recipient, when he needed that money the most, they kept it and they made money off it for 13 years until our auditors went in and found this and were able to return it to him.
And that's the most egregious part of this. I mean, in this instance, you're talking about $175,000 for 13 years. And since I just did this as an example, I kind of know the math. So I'm going to ballpark it and say they made probably about $250,000 worth of interest. They keep the $250,000. He gets the $175,000. That $250,000 really ought to be his money if the insurance company, contractually it's not. They're not breaking any laws. Mm-hmm. But we see something like this, and certainly that's what got you interested in it when you brought this initiative to me. This is something that I say, and I've said this often, this is what government's supposed to do. People are being taken advantage of. They buy life insurance because they think that when they die, the company is going to reach out to their families and take care of them, and that's not what's happening. And so what we're doing is we're changing the laws so that the laws require the insurance companies to live up to the expectations they created when they sold these policies to the people. And I think that's a good thing. I think that's what government is supposed to do.
I think so as well. You've taken a great first step here, but that's why we have such opposition. Because the insurance industry is making so much money off of these benefits. And I just encourage people again, if you agree that this is wrong, that people ought to be paid the benefits that their loved ones wanted them to be paid. If you agree that these life insurance companies ought to honor the last wishes of the deceased, then reach out to your state senator and let them know that they ought to vote on House Bill 302, vote yes, and perhaps sign on as a co-sponsor, because the insurance industry has lobbied up. They have hired a lot of lobbyists and are fighting this in the Senate.
Yeah, they are. We were able to pass it in the House with a majority, but not a supermajority, which means that if there is a problem, if the governor vetoes this, we're going to have our work cut out for us. We had 68 votes in the House, although there were some people missing, so maybe we can get to that magic number that we need for a veto override. There was some Republican support for this, but I believe it was only 3 votes in the House.
Correct.
So it was 65 Democrats, 3 Republicans. This is not a partisan issue. When we passed the bill last year, it was broad bipartisan support. It shouldn't be a partisan issue. This is about fundamental fairness, and it's about, again, insurance companies living up to the promises that they made. So if you hear this, reach out to your senators, and if you know how, reach out to the governor's office and let them know that this is basic consumer protection. This is what government's supposed to do. We should all get on board with this. So.
Yeah, I think you've said it very well.
Yeah. Well, thank you everyone for watching. Thank you, Treasurer Frerichs, for joining us, and of course, all of your hard work on this. I am so pleased and grateful that you chose me to be the House sponsor on this. It was a pleasure working with you in your office. Your staff is outstanding. We got something really good done last year. We're on the verge of really making it better this year and really making people whole, which is in these days and in this government environment to be able to accomplish something like that. We've done something right. So thank you very much.
Hey, you've been a great sponsor. I think you have passed this consumer protection bill 3 times now out of your chamber, and hopefully the 3rd time is the charm. We will finally take care of this issue and make sure that loved ones get the money that was promised to them.
Sounds good to me. Thank you everyone for watching. We'll see you next time.